Hello lovely viewers, and welcome back for my weekly reading update. First, I'm going to talk about a couple books by Kristin Cashore. First is Graceling, and a Graceling is a rare kind of person. You can tell if a person's a Graceling by their eyes, if they have two different color eyes, and these people have extreme skills in something, and it could be anything from swimming to mind reading. And our main character, Katsa, her Graceling ability comes out as a child in this horrifying moment where she kills a grown man with her bare hands. And so with this grace of killing, Katsa is forced to be the king's thug. The king is kind of a bully, and he uses Katsa as a tool to bully his subjects and keep them in line. And because of this really unfortunate situation, Katsa has a lot of issues. She's an awesome protagonist. Just the different ways that she's really strong, but also really weak, and the ways that she develops throughout the book, they're just such a joy to read about. I love the characters of Katsa and her friends. They're all really memorable, and in particular, Katsa is just unforgettable. So this is a really great book. I also read the second book in this Graceling Realm series. The next book isn't a sequel because it doesn't have the same characters. It's just set in the same kind of world. The next book is Fire by Kristin Cashore, and in this, it's in a completely different part of the realm where they don't have Gracelings, and instead they have monsters. And monsters are perversions of animals. They are alluring, they're also really vicious, they're kind of feared for the most part in this part of the world. And Fire, our main character, is one of these monsters. She's the last remaining human monster, and she's irresistible. So the people, they hate her, they adore her. There's envy, there's lust, and there's all sorts of feelings around her because she is this monster. She's born with this ability, and as a human monster, she has a special ability where she can actually control minds, like unless they have been strongly protected against her. But for the most part, she can control people's minds. And even though she has this ability, Fire guards her power from other people. She's unwilling to use this mind control ability on innocent people. Of course, the butt comes out. But then the kingdom, there's trouble brewing there, and the royal family, they need her to use her power. And Fire is also a really memorable protagonist, just like from Graceling. She's pretty different. In this one, she's so scared of becoming like a true monster by actually using her monster powers. And it's a really fascinating book. I think for both Graceling and Fire, another thing I want to note is that the relationship at the heart of each book is so beautiful and it's like wonderfully healthy. The ways that both Katsa and Graceling and Fire Fire, the book, they just develop in themselves, but also in the relationships around them. It's just so wonderful to read. So I'm really enjoying these Graceling Realm books so far, and I already have the third one on hold at the library. Really looking forward to that. Moving along though, I also read The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which is by Barnhill, and this is in a very classic fairy tale style. It won the Newbery, and a couple people recommended it, and I think mostly though I picked this up because it has a really, really gorgeous cover. So in this world, we have the people of the Protectorate, and they are terrified of the Witch of the Woods in this forest. And since they're so scared of the Witch of the Forest, they leave an offering for her every year. Every year, they leave their youngest baby. They leave it at the edge of the woods as an offering to the witch. And the witch is actually a really kind lady, so she has no idea why these crazy people are abandoning their babies, but hey, she sees abandoned babies every year, so she takes the baby each year and she carries it across all the way to the other end of the forest to the people on the other side, and she gives it to a lovely family. She does this every year, but one year she's taking the baby, she accidentally magics it, and the baby, all magicked up, can't be given to a normal family, so she has to raise this particular little baby girl herself. The thing is, the baby's just overflowing with magic. There's too much magic coming out of it. It's uncontrollable. It's really dangerous. And so what the witch does is that she locks the magic away from the child until her 13th birthday. And this is a really lovely fairy tale. I'm pretty met on fairy tales, so since it was pretty like classic style, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I think if you had a more nostalgic childhood, you really like fairy tales, this is a really lovely one. And then lastly, I want to move on to the last book that I'm going to mention in this video, which is Monstress Volume 2. It's by Marjorie and Takeda. And in this volume, our monster girl continues on her quest to discover the legacy of her mother and other mysteries in this very dark, war-torn world. And in this volume, our main girl goes on a little like seafaring adventure, and I love me some seafaring tangents in books, so I was a huge fan of this part. And the book, it continues to be like an awesome series. The art continues to completely amaze. It's such good art, and the story continues to be very dark and kind of horrifying, but like really great at the same time. As I mentioned before from the first volume, like this book kind of has all the trigger warnings. But if you don't mind those, it's really, really great. And the second volume actually might have less gore than the first volume. I mean, it's still a pretty dark book, but maybe slightly less so than the first one, which is kind of a relief as far as how the volumes go. So I'm really enjoying Monstress. And with that, I think that's a wrap on this video. Until next time, my lovelies.